In the bustling city of Port Charles, the dawn painted the horizon with streaks of crimson and gold, a silent nod to the legacy of power and danger that coursed through the veins of its underground world. Sonny Corinthos stood on the balcony of his lavish estate, gazing out at the city he had both protected and controlled for decades. The weight of his decisions, past and present, pressed heavily on his shoulders. Today was different. Today, he was ready to entertain the notion of walking away. For years, Sonny had been the kingpin of Port Charles, orchestrating deals, outmaneuvering enemies, and ensuring the safety of those he loved. But as time marched on, the allure of the life began to dull. The risks outweighed the rewards, and the cost, in blood and loss, felt too high. Yet stepping away wasn't as simple as hanging up his tailored suits and retreating to a quieter life. The empire he had built needed a successor, someone capable of bearing the crown without tarnishing it. Sonny's thoughts drifted to Jason Morgan, the man who had been his right hand, his enforcer, his brother in all but blood. Once, Jason would have been the obvious choice, but tragedy had altered the course of Jason's life. The death of Sam McCall had shattered him, leaving him to raise their son, Danny, alone. Jason's priorities had shifted, and Sonny respected that. Family came first. Still, the question remained, who could Sonny trust to carry his legacy forward? A risky proposition. The answer came to him unexpectedly during a chance meeting at the Savoy. Ava Jerome, the enigmatic and calculating mother of his daughter Avery, approached Sonny with a proposition. Ava, always hungry for power, saw an opportunity to rise from her financial struggles and cement her place in Port Charles' shadowy hierarchy. "You're thinking about stepping down," Ava said, her voice low and measured. "I can help you keep the Corinthos legacy intact. You know I've got the experience and the connections." Sonny studied her, his dark eyes searching for any sign of deceit. Ava had always been a wild card, a woman who could wield charm and ruthlessness in equal measure. Her ties to the Jerome family's criminal past made her a logical candidate, but her history of betrayal gave him pause. "You think you can handle the weight of what I've built?" Sonny asked, his tone laced with skepticism. Ava's lips curved into a sly smile. "I've handled worse. And let's not forget, Sonny, I'm already family. Keeping this in the fold might be the best way to ensure no one else tears it apart." It was a bold move, one that both intrigued and unsettled Sonny. Ava's involvement could either stabilize his empire or lead to its downfall. The decision wasn't one to be made lightly. The Falconeri Crossroads. Meanwhile, across town, Dan Falconeri wrestled with his own demons. The loss of Sam had shaken him to his core, and his faith in the system he once believed in was eroding. As a detective, Dante had dedicated his life to upholding the law, but recent events blurred the line between justice and vengeance. Sitting in his dimly lit apartment, Dante pored over case files, his mind racing with conflicting thoughts. He couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that stepping into his father's world might be the only way to protect what was left of his family. The idea was both repulsive and strangely comforting. "You're better than this," Dante muttered to himself, his voice tinged with frustration. But the seed had been planted, and it was growing roots. Christina's transformation. At Charlie's pub, Christina Corinthos Davis wiped down the bar, her movements mechanical as she replayed recent tragedies in her mind. Losing her baby had been devastating, but the potential loss of her brother Michael, still in critical condition after a violent altercation, was a blow she wasn't sure she could withstand. Grief had a way of transforming people, and for Christina, it was fueling a desire to take control of her life in a way she never had before. She'd spent years trying to find her place, oscillating between rebellion and conformity. But now, a darker path called to her. Perhaps stepping into her father's world wasn't just about preserving his legacy, it was about reclaiming power over her own destiny. If he can't find someone to take over, maybe it's time one of us stepped up, Christina murmured, her resolve hardening. A legacy in question. As Sonny deliberated over his options, he couldn't ignore the shifting dynamics within his family. Ava's offer was tempting, but the idea of passing the torch to one of his children was equally compelling. Each choice came with its own set of risks and rewards. One evening, Sonny gathered his family at the Corinthos estate. Dant, Christina, Michael, recovering but present, and even Ava were seated around the grand dining table. The air was thick with tension as Sonny addressed them. "I've spent my life building this empire," Sonny began, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. "But it's time for me to step back. I need to know that whoever takes over will protect what we've built and keep this family safe." Eyes darted around the table, each person processing the weight of his words. Eva leaned forward, her expression calculated. "I've already told you, Sonny. I can handle this," she said, her voice unwavering. Christina interjected, her tone fierce. "And what if it stayed in the family? Maybe it's time one of us stepped up." Dante remained silent, his jaw clenched as he grappled with his inner turmoil. Sonny's gaze shifted to him, silently asking the question neither dared to voice. The choice. In the weeks that followed, Sonny's decision loomed over Port Charles like a storm cloud. Ava began maneuvering behind the scenes, solidifying her position as the frontrunner. Christina and Dante, each driven by their own motivations, started to explore what stepping into their father's shoes would truly entail. The turning point came during a confrontation at Pier 54. A rival family made a bold move, targeting one of Sonny's warehouses. The attack forced Dante, Christina, and Ava to work together to neutralize the threat. In the chaos, alliances were tested and true colors were revealed. When the dust settled, Sonny arrived at the scene, his expression unreadable as he surveyed the aftermath. "You all proved something tonight," Sonny said, his voice carrying a mixture of pride and sadness. "But this isn't just about one night. This is about the future of our family and this city." He turned to Ava first. "You've got the ambition and the smarts, but you're not family. That matters." To Christina, he said, "You've got fire, and I see a lot of myself in you. But this life, it'll eat you alive if you're not careful." Finally, his eyes landed on Dante. "You've always tried to do what's right. Maybe it's time to redefine what that means. A new era?" In the end, Sonny's decision wasn't about choosing one successor. It was about creating a coalition. Together, Dante, Christina, and Ava would share the burden, each bringing their unique strengths to the table. It was an unconventional arrangement, but one that Sonny believed would ensure the survival of the Corinthos legacy. As Sonny stepped back, the new leaders of Port Charles' underworld took their places, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The torch had been passed, and a new era had begun.